Lay back, relax, enjoy it all. Saturday night, it's time to say no more. S&M with Tally and KRC. Come pleasure or pain, welcome to the stream.
And we're live, folks. Hi,
Hi.
everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome to S&M. I'm Eve. This is Tally.
Hi.
She's looking cute with her little Batman sweater on.
Isn't it the most adorable, ugly Christmas sweater ever? I love it.
And Happy wanted to come say hello as well. Oh, I don't have my lights on. There we go. Not that you can tell if the lights are on because it's too bright in here.
Well, it's all right. My lights aren't quite wide enough.
No?
They don't go far enough. Although, why would you argue? 'Cause shoes.
I mean, I'm not arguing. They might argue, but I'm not arguing. Rick says, love the tree, Eve. Thank you. I had it, and I just said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to put it in the background so people can see it.
I just about lost my shit when she pulled it out.
She's like, oh my god, he's so adorable.
Well,
Except for her squeals were a little more
left...
high pitched.
She actually walked away, so she had her headset off. So she put it down, and until she came back, I was just there like...
I could just see her on the camera going... And I'm like, Tally, I can't hear you yet. And she's like...
And then as soon as she sat down, I just went, oh my god, it's so amazing!
Mitch says it's the boob signal. I am approve. I am approve.
So I need to tell everyone about what happened at my game last night.
Go for it.
So we've got a new party member.
Mm-hmm. She's talking about Dungeons and Dragons, by the way, kids.
Yes. Well, Pathfinder specifically.
Oh, Pathfinder, yes.
And the new party member, he's a very big Cowboys fan.
Oh.
So before the game started, he was sitting there showing us his Cowboys tattoo and his jerseys and his flags and all this sort of thing. And I decided I was going to be a bit of a dick because, you know, I'm an asshole. I can't help myself. So I just told him that if he wants to see the Dallas Cowboys win a Super Bowl or a championship, he better hurry because VHS degrade after 20 years.
As someone who lives in Memphis, where for some godforsaken reason they're obsessed with the Cowboys, I don't know why, they're just obsessed with the Dallas Cowboys here. And they like them even more than they do the Tennessee Titans, which is so fucking weird. But as someone who lives here and has heard so many people but could just be like obsessive fans over it, that joke makes me just giggle inside because I just can't. It's not even the Cowboys I have a problem with. It is the Cowboys fans that piss me off. Because they're like zealots, you know?
Well, you know what? The thing about Dallas Cowboys fans is they're not afraid of commitment, and they're okay with disappointment.
God damn, and they just keep coming. Mr. No says that Dallas isn't going to the playoffs. No, they're not. Tennessee has a shot at the playoffs. That's bad. But no, it's not even that I think that the Cowboys are just necessarily a bad team. I think that some of their fans can be
the
real
most
fucking
impressive
toxic.
thing about the Cowboys are the cheerleaders.
I mean, that's true, but that's not a bad thing either, so...
Well, I didn't say it was a bad thing. It's just it's supposed to be a football team, and most people don't give a shit about the football team. The cheerleaders, however, They're like reality TV stars and all kinds of shit.
I'd like to point out that Pat said them's fighting words tally, so next time you're on his show, you're probably gonna get yelled at. So I think that's the only reason you said anything on this stream right now, because you knew Pat was watching, and you knew
Well,
wind him up.
well, he watches most of our streams. I didn't even know
know.
Pat was a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I just wanted to tell everyone about what happened at the
Press
game last
X
night.
to doubt, because he's mentioned it before.
Has he?
Yes. Pat says, all y'all just Cowboys haters. I don't have a problem with the Cowboys, Pat. I have a problem with their fans. Not you specifically, but I have a problem with some of the really super toxic fans who feel like they can do no wrong.
I've got to be honest. I don't understand American football. I just know that the Dallas Cowboys haven't won a championship or a Super Bowl or whatever it is in 20 years.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone knows who the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders are, even if they don't know who the football team are.
I mean, I stopped looking at cheerleaders when I found porn, but I don't know. See, that's the thing, is that when it comes to porn, this is another side topic, but because we're talking about hot cheerleaders, so to kind of bring up the thought, the traditional things of like the sexy cheerleader or the sexy nun or the sexy nurse just never have appealed to me. I don't know why. They've never really excited me. The French maid sorta does it, but the rest of them don't really hit.
You don't like the idea of playing doctor?
I mean, if it's like I'm with a girl and she's just like, I really want to do this, okay, sure, but it's not really doing anything for me, you know?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things of, if you're doing it to please me, don't waste your time, because it's not gonna get me all hot and bothered. It's just gonna be like, all right, this is fun, you know, whatever. We doing the sideways monkey dance, and that's all I care about.
I say just stick to corsets. So much easier.
I think corsets are great.
Corsets, bodysuits, and body stockings. And just regular stockings.
Pat says, the many times you've seen me in Dallas t-shirts and on Twitter before this kneeling shit got started, yeah. Mr. No says, fighting words. TBH, I don't understand English soccer. Oof. Why does England have too many soccer teams? For example, Manchester has 3 teams and Liverpool has 5.
I don't get it either. I actually had a boyfriend break a TV because he didn't like the fact that his team lost.
They don't appeal to you, Eve, because such fantasies lack a sense of reality, I suspect. Well, see, that's the thing, is that I can just as easily be turned on by someone dressed up like an elf, a sexy elf. That would be hot, you know? Not like my kink or anything like that, but it's definitely hotter to me than like a... See, to me, I can definitely tell you why the nun thing is not a turn-on. I don't find mixing my religion and sex stuff in the same thing. It's just like, let's keep those things separated, you know? The only place God belongs in the bedroom is when I'm making the bitch scream out that say that.
See, I'm okay with the whole nun thing, but I'm not religious.
Yeah, and I think that's why it has those connotations for me, is because it harkens back to my religious roots and things, so... How do we end up on lingerie? Very carefully, Snow. Very carefully.
Thinking of religion, I was never religious growing up. However, I was clearing out this cute little makeup bag so I could use it for all of my gel kit. My nail gel kit. By the way, I lost one.
Damn it.
Yeah. And I found this in the bottom of it. I don't know if you can see it because of how bright the light is, but it's a little gold and silver cross. Little gold cross with a silver inlay, and I had that since I was christened. Since like what is the equivalent to the religious naming ceremony here in the UK.
Oh.
I've still got the little Bible that my godmother gave me as well. It's on the shelf and it's really pretty, and I won't get rid of it even though I'm not religious because she died. And it's really cute, and I've still got it.
As a homage and memory to her, I get that. Ross just said, as a former gymnast, cheerleaders suck. Mitch says sweatpants and flannel shirt do it for me. Easy access, you know. Assassin says Lady Liara Windchaser on side quest might suit your bill. I mean, we know the young lady who plays her, and she's been on this show before with us. And yeah,
I
think-
have missed quite a lot of this season of side quests.
I think Tally and I can both agree that Chatmore is
Oh, she is just wonderful, and I adore her.
She is delectable. Hi, Memes. How's it going?
Oh, she's just the sweetest little thing.
Yeah.
I like how awkward she is. It's so adorable.
Yeah, she's so nervous all the time, and it's a combination of her being like, simultaneously she's brave enough to put herself out there, but she has this nervous energy about her, and it's really cute. I think it works.
It is
for her.
adorable, isn't it?
Are anime
She's
vampires
just the cutest thing.
immune to two traditional methods that are used to kill a vampire, with the exception of the sun? I mean, considering they're cartoon characters, yeah, probably. No, no, not gonna. No,
I don't know. I don't really know a whole lot about vampires apart from the fact they've got teeth and they like to bite.
Hi, how you doing? I mean, it really depends. It really depends on the lore that's written for the vampire.
Well, yeah, because different vampires have different laws and different things that'll kill them.
If you're going with
there's a lot of some vampires have like severe issues when it comes to garlic, whereas others it's just not an issue. It's just, and then there's some where holy water will make their skin burn, whereas in other lore it's just water.
Yeah. Well, in the olden, it really depends on the lore. Like, if you're going with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like you said, garlic just annoys them. It's more of a they really don't like it, not a it hurts them in any kind of way.
Well,
it's more of a situation of
smells.
Yeah, it's more, well, yeah, pretty much, and it's more of a situation of if you have person A, if they're hunting and they come across two people, person A has garlic on them, person B does not. Lean towards person B. But if they come across person A by himself and he only has garlic and he has garlic on him, they're not gonna be too scared of garlic. They're just gonna kind of, and that's the garlic cut thing has kind of gone away in a lot more pop culture lore in recent years. But it still comes up every once in a while, so because it used to be a big thing. So Vampire the Masquerade. Vampire the Masquerade has some very specific rules for how vampires are affected, depending on the type of vampire.
And Hikaru is recommending Vampire Night, Blood, and Hellsing. I've seen Vampire Night. It's pretty good. Although, it's also got some things in it where you kind of go, ew.
Yeah. You will name her more. You will hug her and squeeze her and spank her when she is bad. I mean, only with consent. Tally over here grinning like a Cheshire cat. Garlic is BS, but silver works on vampires as well. Again, depends on the lore, because sometimes silver doesn't do jack shit. They'll just look at you and go, "That's for werewolves." Are you crazy?
Well, yeah, like there is some lore where the only way to kill a vampire is to cut off their head or to stake them. But then there's also lore where you can set them on fire and that works. Whereas I think the lore when it comes to werewolves are pretty universal. Like whether or not the werewolves remember what or know what they're doing when they're werewolves vary, but the methods of killing werewolves are pretty standard. Removal of head and silver bullets.
Yeah, silver.
It's pretty standard.
Yeah. There's been some that would get very clever with it. Like there was what was it in Underworld? In order to kill werewolves, they would use silver nitrate bullets which
Mhm.
isn't like a chunk of silver that they can dig out. It's a liquid.
It's a bullet with
So
liquidated
it
silver in it.
punches into
So
them,
that
breaks inside them,
as the blood pumps,
and then
it
just gets
spreads
into
the
their
silver
blood.
throughout the body. Sounds like a very painful way to die.
Is Inuyasha the only anime that's classified as a werewolf? I'm sure there's others, but I didn't even know Inuyasha would technically be werewolf. I found decapitation works as a very effective method for dispatching vampires and werewolves. It can. Like I said, it
Yeah,
really
that's what I
depends on the
said.
lore.
Yeah, I said that.
My first exposure to vampires was the Count from Sesame Street. Same.
Yeah. I think that was everyone's first exposure to vampires. Although you go to some Eastern European countries, like go back like 100 years, and they really did think people would rise from the grave unless they were buried face down. So if they did try to dig themselves out, they would be digging down instead of up. And they would stake them and cut off the head before burying them and place the head on their abdomen.
There was, I heard lore, things like that. Another one, they would cut off the head and stuff garlic in the orifices between the head and the neck, where they cut it off at, to prevent them from rising from the grave.
If they suspected someone was rising from the grave at night, they would dig up the body, and because of the way your body decomposes, due to the fact that your hair looks longer and your nails look longer when you're decomposing, they would think that this person was a vampire, so they would burn them to ashes and then rebury them.
Yep. In some lores, when you stake a vampire, if you take the stake out, the vampire can wake back up.
Yeah.
So it only stops them as long as the stake is in there.
Yeah, so you either stake them and leave the stake in, or there's also lore kind of Vampire Diaries.
Hikaru
if you
says
stake a vampire, they turn to dust.
Yeah. Hikaru says my first vampire I ever seen was Bela Lugosi. Also a good one.
Yeah.
Screw Eastern Europe. Look up Mercy Brown's case from Rhode Island in the 1700s. Really, I'll have to look up that one.
Yes, I will too.
Excuse me. Oh, big yawn. Anyway, kids.
We've got an article.
Yes, we do. Oddly enough.
I have a really bad werewolf movie, sorry. It's so bad. It's really low budget. I think it was like an independent film. And you know what? I can't fault the acting. The story, however, leaves something to be desired. And, well, I say I can't fault the acting. It's not great. And it's called Werewolves of the Third Reich. And, it's so meh there. It's not good at all. Like, we're not even talking like B-list movie. We're talking it's so bad it's like a Z-list movie. It's really bad.
Talk to chat for just a minute longer. I'm trying to figure this part out. Okay, I think it's right. I think that's right.
Yeah.
There is one thing I wanted to cover because I found this very interesting and slightly disturbing at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna switch to this screen, and if I haven't sent you the link yet, Tally, here you go. There's the link to that one. But this concerned me. this concerned me just a little bit. This mysterious, they found a mysterious monolith in Utah. Now everybody was like, huh, that's really weird, until it disappeared. This is back middle of November. It's been almost a month ago now. But I wanted to cover this
People have
earlier.
been putting them up all over the world.
They found it. They didn't know really what it was, and then it just
I think it was an art project.
Disappeared. Maybe.
Kind of like the solar-powered speaker system that's in an African desert somewhere that just blasts out Toto's Africa in all 4 directions.
I mean, that is very obvious.
That's a genuine art thing.
Yeah.
You go to Africa, you go to one of the deserts, blasting out sound 40 miles in every direction. It's just a speaker system that's solar panel powered, and it'll just play Toto on repeat.
Yeah, no, definitely. Who had Necromorphs for November? I was gonna get there. Best modern vampire.
Why?
I like the vampires from Underworld. But anyway, just to kind of show you, this is the monolith they found. There's a little video attached to the file, Tally, if you look at it.
Yeah, so we're gonna watch the video.
Very clean. They're not really saying anything.
Yeah.
I just don't.
I think it's an art project.
Huh.
I don't know. A metal monolith planted firmly in the ground with no clear sign of where it came from or why it was there was discovered in a... Oh, I'm going to pause that. Was discovered in a barren slot of the canyon in Utah's Red Rock Country. As mysteriously as it arrived, a metal monolith was discovered last week in Utah. Public safety workers is now gone, officials say on Saturday. The 3-sided metal structure was removed on Friday evening by quote, by an unknown party from the public land it was found on. The Federal Bureau of Land Management's Utah office said in a statement. The Bureau said it had not removed the monolith, which it considers private property. The Utah Department of Public Safety said on Monday that it had found the object while surveying for bighorn sheep. It's gone, the Department of Public Safety said, reacting to the news in an Instagram post. Almost as quick. Thank you for having a muffler on your car when you drove by my house. It's gone, the Department of Public Safety said, reacting to this news on an Instagram post. Almost as quickly as it appeared, it has now disappeared, the department said. Adding, I can only speculate that aliens took it back using the emoji for extraterrestrials.
You know, I think it was just an art project. But these have been popping up all over the world.
Maybe it will stop by to visit us in Canada, one person commented. It was a mystery now how the monolith had been installed in the first place. Lieutenant Nick Street, a spokesman for the Department of Public Safety, said this week that the monolith had been embedded into the rock. Somebody took the time to use some type of concrete cutting tool or something to really dig down almost in the exact shape of the object and embedded it really well, he said. It's odd, there are roads close by, but to haul the materials to cut the rock and haul the metal, which is taller than 12 feet in sections, to do all that in that remote spot is definitely interesting. Officials said that the structure is most likely a work of art and that its installation on public land was illegal. It was unclear who had put it there and when, but the art world quickly speculated that it was the work of John McCracken, a sculptor fond of science fiction. He died in 2011. His son, Patrick McCracken, told the New York Times this week that his father had told him in 2002 that, quote, he would like to leave his artwork in remote places for people to be discovered later. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, it is just a piece of artwork.
Maybe.
Although
While
apparently one did turn up with Epstein didn't kill himself carved into it.
while officials declined to disclose the monolith's location, some people had tracked it down. David Serber, who visited the structure this week, posted videos on Instagram and said it was located near Lockhart Basin Road, which is south of Moab. The Bureau of Land Management said it would not be investigating the disappearance because, quote, crimes involving private property are managed by the local sheriff's office. The San Juan and Grand County sheriff's offices did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Mr. Serber, who trekked to the monolith, posted about its disappearance on his Instagram story on Saturday night. Apparently the monolith is gone, he said. Nature returned back to her natural state, I suppose. Yeah, they made the article about this on the 24th, and on the 28th they said it was just gone. Speculation is that he just left it out there.
Very strange sculpture.
Yeah, speculation is that he just left it out there, but, like Assassin said, who had necromorphs for November? I mean...
Well, I'm guessing it was his son.
Yeah. No, I'm guessing that he left it out there, and then somebody finally stumbled across it ages later.
You know what? You know what? Yeah, maybe. You know what? It's not going to be necromorphs. No, it's going to be Krampus for December.
The meme with those monoliths is now there. The cases for the stones from Fifth Element, right? Welcome in, Scully. Just wish it was aliens already, but unless they just want to fuck with us, gonna say this isn't it. Yeah, no, I don't think it is. I don't think it's actually aliens.
Oh, let's face it, with the chaos that's been going on in the world, aliens don't want to speak to us. They think we're insane.
I mean, I think we're insane, but, that's beside the point.
I mean, in America, you were giving pumpkins lobotomies 1 month, stuffing turkeys the next, or sacrificing birds the next, and then the following month, we're all dragging trees into our house.
I'm not reading any more things in the Times, apparently, because they didn't want me to create an account and pay for it. I'm like, nope. But yeah, so disappearing monoliths.
Josh agrees that Krampus should be the December event.
I mean, you can do Krampus.
Yes.
Anyway, how are we looking on time today? About 30
We're only
minutes in.
half an hour in. Yes.
Did you have anything else you wanted to do, or you want to get into that article that
I want to get into that article because it's very interesting, and it is a interesting piece of art.
Excuse me. What, the monolith?
Yeah, it is interesting. And I'm guessing it has been there for a while. I'm guessing that what happened is it's been there for a while, and every so often someone just goes out there to polish it so that it's nice and shiny.
Mm-hmm.
They've cut it in?
Yeah, but they apparently cut away the ground.
Yeah.
And cut out the exact shape of it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't even...
Yeah. That is just wild.
Oh. But
you sound
we've
chilled
got
to
an
the bone by
interesting
it,
relationship. What?
Anyway. But
I
yeah,
have no idea what's going on.
I know you don't. Anyway, on to our next thing. Found this a few days ago and dropped it over here, and Tally was like, ooh, I really like that. So we thought we'd talk about this today.
It's a good one.
6 toxic relationship habits that most people think are normal. I'm gonna give you a little hint.
Yeah, apparently Eve saw this and
anybody who has
Apparently,
any.
Eve saw this and thought it was going to be bullshit, but
Yeah, I
apparently
thought it was gonna be
it's
some bullshit
pretty.
about like, don't gaslight your partner, obviously, or toxic masculinity is bad for any relationship. Okay, we're just gonna close it. No, but it actually is some sound advice, and if you don't already know these things and you're in a relationship, you might want to double check yourself, because there's a lot of things that, a lot of these things that I have actually, I would have thought was common sense, but there are a lot of people I've actually run across that think a lot of these things are okay in relationships, and they're not. Simply because they're just not healthy or constructive in a lot of ways. Did you hear about the ex-Israeli security guy who claimed the aliens were already there? Tim Pool did something on that. I did not.
I haven't heard about that. We'll have to have a look at that though, because it does sound amusing.
I cannot pronounce that word, Rebecca. If I ever have children, Joel Lakerturnin and Krampus are going to be a thing. I cannot say that word.
Well, yeah, because the whole if you're bad, Santa's not going to turn up doesn't tend to work. Oh, no, no, no. What you do is you tell them if you're good, Santa will come and leave you presents. If you're bad, Krampus will turn up and he will eat you.
That sounds awful. Can we just like teach kids to be good without telling them that demons are going to come and eat them?
Well, Krampus is I think it's German. And the whole thing with Krampus is he would take children that are bad. He would beat them with some kind of cane or switch,
Mm-hmm.
and then he would eat them.
Well, that's excessive. I'm just saying.
A little bit.
Jola is the Yule cat. Okay. But yeah, 6 toxic relationship habits that most people think are normal. Many toxic relationship habits are baked into our culture, and we end up accepting them as normal. These are some of the worst ones. There's no class in high school on how to not be a shitty boyfriend or girlfriend. Sure, we get taught
that should be taught by parents.
Should be. Sure, we get taught the biology of sex, the legal ins and outs of marriage, and maybe we read a few obscure love stories from the 19th century on how not to be an ass face. Without clear ideas from adults, that's what we're left with is basically trial and error. And if you're like most people, it's mostly error. One of the problems that a lot of unhealthy relationship habits are baked into our culture. We worship romantic love, that dizzying, irrational kind that somehow finds breaking china plates on the wall in a fit of tears somewhat endearing.
And oh no. Oh fuck no.
Scoff at the practicality of unconventional scoff at practicality or unconventional sexualities. Men and women are encouraged to objectify each other and to objectify their relationships. Thus, our partners are often seen as achievements or prizes rather than someone to share a mutual emotional support. I would agree with this. I also think, even especially in like, this doesn't really apply to you, but I saw something the other day where they talk about in churches, especially, the idea of marriage is glorified beyond pretty much all else, not just as a way to prevent sexual immorality or as like a balm for homosexuality, for whatever reason. It's like, oh, you just need to meet the right girl. It's like, no, not necessarily. It's not necessarily going to work.
Hey, what consenting adults do with each other within their own privacy, as far as I'm concerned, it's nobody else's business. As long as everything is consensual and everyone agrees that they are happy to do what is taking place.
Mm-hmm. I personally don't think God has a problem with who you fuck, so.
Well, why? I mean, let's face it. If you actually read the Bible, most of the stuff when it comes to homosexuality is from the Old Testament, which technically isn't Christianity, it's Judaism. And if you actually read the New Testament, which is the stuff with Jesus and his followers and all that sort of thing, Jesus said nothing about gay people.
He did not. That I can recall.
Like, we're talking about a man that hung out with prostitutes. You really think he's going to care about gay men?
I could get into that, but I don't want to get off topic here. I was more just talking about the emphasis that we have on, pretty much as a culture, that, you know, first off, having a relationship is the end all be all. To the point of like driving a lot of
Can
us
I
to.
can I just say?
Can I just finish my sentence?
Can I just say sorry, go
You're
for
lagging
it.
out real bad. Especially when the point when it comes to like you have to get married, you have to have a relationship, you have to get married, you have to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or somebody, you know, just someone in your life to have as a partner. But you don't necessarily have to have that. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to not be in a relationship, you know, to the point where it just weighs on so much of us. So many of us, we're just like, I'm so lonely, I'm so alone. But it's like you're not really. You have tons of friends and family around you that, you know, just want to keep you close and whatever.
And can we also bear in mind that if you aren't happy by yourself on your own, then you suddenly have a relationship that's just a failure waiting to happen.
Say what?
Like, you have to be happy and comfortable within your own skin in order to be in a healthy mindset to have a healthy long-term relationship.
I would agree with that.
It's
that
the
you
whole
need
how
to-
can you expect someone else to love you if you don't love yourself sort of thing, only it's worded in such a mean way.
Yeah. But anyway, they're not wrong when they talk about the cultural idea that we have about marriage, about relationships. There are a lot of things that are seen as
before we
just.
move on, going back to Jesus, he was a sandal wearing woodworking hippie. He doesn't care who you're sleeping with.
Can we move on now?
Yes.
Okay. A lot of the self-help literature out there isn't helpful either, and for most of us, mom and dad surely weren't the best examples either. I mean, I don't know about you, my parents are divorced, so it's obvious that they didn't get it right.
My parents hate each other. Like, we're talking like they can't even stand in a room without having screaming matches.
Right.
I mean,
so how is young Tally supposed to learn what is a good example of a relationship?
I mean, they didn't actually split or separate until I was 18. But before that, they both had a string of affairs.
Mm-hmm. And they didn't set the best example on how to deal with those problems or that they were having either.
No, they really didn't. And I do love my parents.
Same.
As people, they are assholes. But I do love them. And when it came to, when it comes to family events, like, for example, my son's naming ceremony. Here in the UK, you have, like, baptisms and all that sort of thing of babies, and it's pretty much just an excuse to have a party and get drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And my ex's parents were sort of like a buffer to keep them apart. So we had my ex's father hanging out with my dad and keeping him away from my mother, who was hanging out with her mother. And like my son's cake, the little cake for my son's christening, it was adorable. It was a carousel. It was the most.
You're getting way off base there. We're getting off of relationships altogether.
I know.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Fortunately, there's been a lot of psychological research published in the past few decades about healthy and happy relationships. And there are some general principles that keep popping up that most people are unaware of, or if they don't know them, they don't follow them. In fact, some of these principles actually go against what is traditionally considered romantic or a normal in a relationship. Below are six of the most common tendencies in a relationship that many couples think are healthy and normal, but are actually toxic and harming what you hold dear. Number 1, the relationship scorecard. what is it? The keeping score phenomenon is what happens when someone you're dating continues to blame you for past mistakes. If both people in the relationship do this, it devolves into what I call the relationship scorecard, where relationship devolves into a battle to see who has screwed up the most over the months or years, and therefore who is most indebted to the other. If you were an asshole at Cynthia's 28th birthday party back in 2010 and it has proceeded to ruin your life ever since, why? Because there's not a week that goes by that you're not reminded of it. But that's okay, because that time you caught your partner sending flirtatious text messages to a coworker immediately cancels the opportunity to indulge in some useful jealousy. So it's kind of even, right?
You know what?
Wrong.
I see that. Like, don't do that shit. If someone fucks up, apologize, get over it, move on. That's the end of it. Because if you're gonna drag it out and keep score like this, you are just gonna end up with an awful relationship, and eventually you're not gonna want to be together, and it'll just be a messy breakup.
Wrong. Why is toxic? The relationship scorecard is a double whammy of suckage. Not only are you deflecting the current issue by focusing on previous wrongs, but you're ginning up guilt and bitterness from the past to manipulate your partner into feeling bad in the present. If this goes on long enough, both partners eventually spend most of their energy trying to prove that they're less culpable than the other, rather than solving what caused the present issue. People spend all their time trying to be less wrong for each other instead of being more right for each other.
You know what? I have to say, me and my housemate do this whole scorecard thing. In saying that, I'm winning.
God damn it.
But he's a dick, so I don't care.
What to do instead? Deal with issues individually unless they are legitimately connected. If someone habitually cheats, then it's obviously a recurring problem. But the fact that she embarrassed you in 2010, that now she got sad and ignored you today, have nothing to do with each other, so don't bring it up. It's crucial to understand that by choosing to be with your significant other, you're choosing to be with all of their prior actions and behaviors. If you don't accept those, then ultimately you are not accepting your partner. If someone bothered you that much a year ago, you should have dealt with it a year ago. And that's the thing, is like finding that peace with something. If you can't be at peace with it, then you shouldn't be together. Like, if you have that much of an issue with somebody, even if you've hashed it out and talked about it, don't hold a grudge. If you find you're still holding a grudge, then maybe there's something else going on. You're not as okay with it. And it's okay to be upset for a little while. Like if someone cheats on you, it's okay to be upset. But if you want to continue that relationship,
the relationship between me and my housemate is strictly platonic. So the whole scorekeeping thing, we do it because it sucks living together, and all of the issues that I bring up from like a year ago, 2 years ago, they are connected because it's often the same thing. Do something about the fucking heating.
Yeah.
If it hasn't changed in 3 years, I'm allowed to continuously bring it up.
Well, that's what the point was. If it's something that's habitually a recurring problem, then yeah, it's something that needs to be addressed. But I hated that my last relationship, she would always bring up past stuff when she messed up. But it's like, okay, like Tally, if there's a problem with the heater, you don't go and bring up things that, like, he forgot to bring home the right kind of milk that you wanted, for something you were cooking, or he didn't bring the eggs home that, like, 3 weeks ago. How dare he?
He forgot to pick up toilet paper from the shop last month. No.
Right.
Who cares?
It's an unrelated issue.
Because why would I bring that up? I'm not keeping score with that. My basic thing is basically, if you had done something, if you had spoken with the landlord 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago, because you work with them, then I wouldn't have phoned environmental health. And if I hadn't phoned, but in saying that, if I hadn't phoned the environmental health department, the landlord wouldn't have got the kick up his ass in order to do the heating. And the heaters are now up at the farm in boxes. Like, someone actually brought them down here to drop them off. And I answered the door and I was there like, well, there's no point you bringing them down here. I've got nowhere to put them. You might as well just speak to the landlord and tell him that he can bring them down here to when he's actually planning on having them fitted. There's no point bringing them in and leaving them because there's nowhere to leave them.
And we got off on a tangent again. Good job.
Yes, we did. Sorry.
Turn my light on real quick. Dude.
Okay. Dropping hints and other passive aggressions.
Yes.
What is it? Instead of saying something outright or out loud, a partner tries to nudge the other in the right direction of figuring it out. Instead of saying what's actually upsetting you, you find small and petty ways to piss your partner off. And you'll then feel justified in complaining to them. Why is it toxic? Because it shows that you two are not comfortable communicating openly and clearly. A person has no reason to be passive aggressive if they feel safe expressing anger or insecurities within a relationship. A person will never feel a need to drop hints if they feel like they won't be judged or criticized for honesty. You know what? Sometimes dropping hints is a good thing. Like, like, not when it comes to issues. Like, if you've got like issues, like, express those issues.
Right.
However, if you want something for your birthday, let's say,
well, that's different.
you can drop hints about that. That's a that's a different kettle of fish altogether. Like, so depending on what the hints are for, sometimes you can drop hints. What to do instead? State your feelings and desires openly and make it clear to the other person. Make it clear that the other person is not necessarily responsible or obligated to those feelings, but that you'd love to have their support. If they love you, and they'll almost the fuck, reading her is hard.
You're almost done. Read it again.
They'll almost always be able to offer that support.
Exactly.
Yay!
You got through
Fucking
it.
hell.
I would like to point out, especially if your partner is a guy, because guys are terrible at reading hints. I was just having this conversation with my roommate's girlfriend earlier this morning about how some of these girls that she knows just want to, like, say... Actually, it goes back to what started the conversation was Pat's stream this morning. He's like, well, I caught a glimpse of that where Pat was talking about, hey, y'all. Pat was talking about how, dating your ex's friends type of thing. Like, if you're dating someone and you break up and you become interested in one of their friends and you ask them, hey, is it okay? Would you be okay with it if I started dating so-and-so? And the person that you're now your ex says, yes, it's okay. They don't have a right to really bitch about it when you go and date their friend because they told you it was okay. And especially if it's a guy going to go to his ex-girlfriend and being like, hey, I know you're friends with so-and-so. Would it upset you if I dated her? If it would, ladies, fucking say yes. Tell him yes, it would upset me very much. Because guys take things at face value. They're not going to look at you and read your body language and go, oh, well, she said yes, but what her body language said is, you better fucking not. You know?
Yeah, if your response is, bitch, you better fucking not,
then say, bitch, you better fucking not.
Bitch, you better fucking not.
Exactly. Let somebody know that something bothers you. If they can't, it's like I said, especially when it comes to guys take everything at face value. And 99% of the time, most guys are okay with whatever it is you have to say or think.
Oh, I'll tell you what, some men are so bad at picking up hints that when it came to me dropping hints about what I wanted for like birthday or Christmas or something like that, I would just buy it myself and just go, here, this is what I want. Or I would just say to them, that's what I want.
Yeah, guys are a little dumb like that. See, I pay attention though.
So sometimes stupidity and being a little dumb, it's kind of endearing though.
Sometimes, I mean, especially if they have other qualities, and just be that simpleness of like, look, I'm just not great at hints. Can you just tell me what it is you want? You know, it's not that I can't pay attention. It's just I'm really bad at this.
Well, it's the whole social skills, isn't it? Women are
Mhm.
better with social cues and social skills,
Generally
and
speaking, yeah.
men, well, are generally better. They're more mechanically minded.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it's how we're different, but we complement each other.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Number 3, holding the relationship hostage. What is it? When one person has a simple criticism or complaint and blackmails the other person by threatening the commitment of the relationship as a whole. For instance, if someone feels like you've been cold to them, instead of saying, I feel like you're being cold sometimes, they will say, I can't date someone who is so cold, who's cold to me all the time. Why it's toxic. Holding the relationship hostage amounts to emotional blackmail and creates tons of unnecessary drama. Even the smallest
Emotional
hiccup in the
blackmail. It's not fun.
even the smallest hiccup in the flow of a relationship results in the perceived commitment crisis. It's crucial for both people in a relationship to know that negative thoughts and feelings can be communicated safely without it threatening the entire future of the relationship. Without that freedom to be honest, a couple will suppress their true thoughts and feelings, leading to creation of an environment of distrust and manipulation.
See, these kinds of issues that we're covering, these are why the 7-year hitch that you get in a lot of relationships end a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because instead of working through issues, you're doing shit like this.
Yeah. And that's to me is one of those things of like, you know, if you're married to someone and saying like, well, you need to do this or we're gonna get a divorce. Whoa, that's not okay.
Mm.
And if the problem that I think I tell people a lot of times is you can't just throw out that, because that is like the end all be all. This relationship is over if we don't do this. That should never come out of your mouth. And the reason that should never come out of your mouth is if you're at the point where you're threatening that, you're already considering leaving the relationship anyway. And you need to just go ahead and get the
Just
fuck
leave.
out. You just need to go ahead and
Just
stop wasting everyone's time and get the fuck out.
Yeah.
You're not invested in that relationship anymore if you're willing to take the threat that far. And if you aren't willing to take the threat
agree.
that far, you need to stop fucking saying it.
Yeah, I agree. So, what are you supposed to do instead?
What to do instead? It's fine to get upset at your partner or not like something about them. It's called being a normal human being. But understand that committing to a person and always liking a person are not the same thing. You can be committed to someone and not like everything about them. You can be eternally devoted to someone, yet actually be annoyed or angered by them once in a while. On the contrary, two partners who are capable of communicating feedback and criticism without judgment or blackmail will strengthen their commitment to one another in the long run.
That's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why when you're in a relationship, I think it's important that you have your own spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why a man cave is a thing.
I mean, for the woman, it used to be just called the kitchen, but...
Yeah, but for a man, it's a man cave.
Yeah.
And let's face it, women take over the rest of the house.
That's fair.
I mean, let's face it, it's a man cave. That room belongs to the man in the relationship, and then the woman just takes up the whole house. That's just how relationships work.
Yeah.
So having a little bit of time apart, like in your day to day, it is healthy. Having hobbies outside of what you enjoy doing together is important. However, it is also important to have things that you enjoy to do together.
Hikaru says if I was meant to be a mind reader, I would have been born Professor X. Other qualities like a massive donger, lols, yep. Oh hell, number 4 is something I've actually been a victim of. My wife, and Jarl says my wife does number 4 constantly. LOL, I don't like my wife, but I'm committed. Roll on the floor. I wish I had a man cave. I need a me place. Raziel says women can stay out of my kitchen.
You know what? If you want a man cave and you don't have the space for it, just get a garden shed.
Mm-hmm.
Hook it up to the electrics and all that sort of thing. Put your game consoles and you have like a nice little chair and you can decorate that room however you want, and it can just be your little me space.
Your turn.
Yes. Okay. Blaming your partner for your own emotions. What is it? Let's say you're having a crappy day and your partner isn't exactly being super sympathetic or supportive about it. Maybe they've been on the phone all day with some people from work, or they've got distracted when you hugged them. You want to lay around at home together and just watch movies tonight, but your partner has plans to go out and see friends. As your frustration with your day and your partner's reaction to it increases, you feel yourself lashing out for being so insensitive and callous towards you. Sure, you never asked for emotional support, but your partner should just instinctively know how to make you feel better. They should have gotten off the phone and ditched their plans for your lousy emotional state. No. If you are
No.
just no. If you are in that kind of mindset and you need affection, just say, "Hey, I want attention."
Yeah, especially if your partner is not noticing. Like, they could have a lot on their plate themselves. They could be going through their day, being in a tizzy, and they're just like, gotta go. And it's not that they don't care, they just haven't taken the time to look
It's
at,
busy.
say,
They're busy.
hey, do you need help? Is everything okay? Something's off with you. They're just like, well, I mean, if there is something off, they'll tell me, right? Move along.
The thing is,
In which case, you should just
like,
tell them. This goes back to the communication thing. The part we just did up here about
basically all of these issues can just
dropping
be resolved
hints. Don't do that.
communication.
Yeah, don't drop hints. Don't sit there and just wait for them to notice. Fucking tell them that there's something wrong.
Yeah.
So, why is it toxic, Tally?
Blaming our partners for our emotions is selfish and a classic example of poor maintenance of personal boundaries. When you set a precedent that your partner is responsible for how you feel at all times and vice versa, this can easily lead to a codependent relationship. Everything, even down to reading a book or watching TV, must be negotiated. When someone begins to get upset, all personal desires go out the window because you. This sentence makes no sense.
They just added the it in there.
Because now you have to make each other feel better. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
The biggest problem about codependent tendencies is that they breed resentment. Sure, if my girlfriend gets mad at me once in a while because she's had a shitty day and is frustrated and needs attention, that's understandable. If it's become an exception
An expectation.
If it's an expectation that my life revolves around her emotional well-being at all times, then I'm soon going to become very bitter and even manipulative towards her feelings and desires.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense. Like, you should, like, two people that are in a relationship, they should still be their own people. They are just now two people that are their own people that are working together for a better life. So if you've had a shitty day and you want attention and affection in order to feel better, you just say so.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I'm guilty of this one. I've been that
We're all
person.
guilty of this.
I've been that
sometimes.
person who's just like, well, people should just notice that I'm in a bad mood. Not just even in romantic relationships, but in like my friendships as well. You should just know. You should notice that I'm just you know, and I'm really guilty of not wanting to express those feelings. Because also at the time, if I feel like if I say those feelings, I'm just being needy. But I really want someone to notice it, you know.
Now I am gonna say something about a past relationship that is probably gonna get your back up. And it's the abusive relationship that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And this abusive relationship, now other than the abuse and the fact that it was violent, like if you took the violence out of it, it wasn't that bad, because we were two individuals that were responsible for our own emotional well-being, and we did as a whole work together in order to improve our lives. He was just violent.
You
And
just
if he
didn't understand
wasn't,
physical, personal boundaries.
yeah, and if he wasn't violent, it would have been a good relationship. However, he was. And then after the relationship ended, he went from physical abuse to emotional abuse, because I wasn't actually there for him to beat the shit out of.
So what do we do instead, Tally?
Take responsibility for your own emotions and expect your partner to be responsible for theirs in turn. There's a subtle yet important difference between being supportive of your partner and being obligated to your partner. Any sacrifices should be made by choice and not because that's what's expected. As soon as both people in the relationship become responsible for each other's moods and downswings, it gives them both an incentive to hide their true feelings and manipulate one another.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've had relationships with this issue as well, where it's been I've tried to communicate something that I didn't want to do, and the other person was trying to manipulate it. It was mostly my ex always wanted to go out, but I'm more of a home. I prefer to be at home and just chill out. And it's all well and good if he wanted to go out. However, he was trying to push me into going out, and he would try to manipulate my emotions to make me go, oh, fine, for fuck's sake, I will go out.
Yeah. I mean,
And
my ex did something
I
similar.
I didn't appreciate that.
I would be like, okay, hey, I have.
Well, I'm
I want to
I'm
go
not
hang
a
out with
big
my friends.
drinker.
I want to go hang out with my friends. I want to go do D&D one night a week with them. Okay. I tried to bring her to D&D a couple of times. Didn't work. She just didn't. She wasn't into it. Okay, fine. You don't have to like D&D. I'm gonna go play D&D with my friends. So, why are you always going out? I haven't been out. I've literally been out one night this week. This is the night.
Well,
one
if
night
it's
a
the
week.
same night, if it's the same night every week,
You'd
then
think.
she knows it's coming.
Yeah, you'd think. She's like, but she acted like I never wanted to spend any time with her when I could literally say that, look, I literally spend
There's
every
7
evening
days
here
in a
with you.
week, and you're spending one of them with your friends doing your whole LARP and D&D thing.
Yeah.
There's 6 other days where you can do stuff
It's like,
together.
I've invited you to come spend time with me doing this. You said you didn't want to do it. It's fine, but I want to go do this. And I'm trying to have my own individual life, and she was upset by that. She was upset by
Yeah.
it, and I'll be honest, I think subconsciously, she was upset by it because she didn't have much of her own life. She literally had no friends outside of maybe one or two from high school, and then she had no coworkers that she really interacted with. And then to top
By
everything
the
else off,
sounds of it,
she had her family, but her family, didn't really treat her properly either. So
by the sounds of it, what she needed was for that one night where you do your LARP. It sounds like she needed like a dance class or an aerobics class or just something that she could do on that night that was sort of like a her time. Like, even if it's just like, you know what, if you're going out and doing that one night a week, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to do face masks, I'm going to do hair masks, I'm going to do
but I was
manicures.
expected to sit there. She would do those things, but she'd do those things while I was there, and she would do those things. She would sit there and just like we could never watch whatever I wanted to watch on TV. It was always one of her reality TV shows or her
I
teen
hate
dramedies.
reality TV shows.
She was a real big fan of Big Brother.
Ugh.
She watched a lot of that one, and it would just frustrate the hell out of me because I'd get so bored of these. She watched a lot of Survivor.
You know what? The only reality TV show I enjoy, like at all, is I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And basically, what they do is they take a group of has-beens and wannabe celebrities, and they just drop them in a campsite in the middle of the Australian jungle. And they
Say bye.
like they have people to keep them safe and all that sort of thing, and it's all safe and all that. However, in order to get their food for that week, they have to do something called bush tucker trials, and they have to, while they're doing these bush tucker trials, they have to do challenges. And these challenges could be something like you have to make your way through this maze. However, it's not just a regular maze. It's a maze filled with creepy crawlies. And like there might be one room that's got an ostrich in it. And you've got to like make your way around through this maze without freaking out. And if at any time you get these celebrities get way too freaked out, they just start screeching, "I'm a celebrity, get me out of it!" And they just pull them out. And then they, depending on how far they got through their trial, depends on how many meals they've got for the camp. And the goal is to get enough food for everyone to eat well that week. If not, like let's say they only get 2 stars and there's 5 people in the camp. That means technically they've only got enough food for 2 people and they have to divide that up between 5.
Mm-hmm.
But these bush tucker trials, they could be anything, like eating, like one of them was eating kangaroo assholes. Kangaroo anuses. And witchetty grubs and all that sort of thing. And that's why I enjoy it. Because it's asshole celebrities doing all of these things.
Assholes eating assholes. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And
so, Tally,
so
what do we
do? My favorite one was last year when Boris Johnson's dad was in it. He was great. All right, sorry.
What do we do instead of being...
I've already read that.
You read that?
Yeah, I read it.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I don't know why it's got Calvin and Hobbes down here with, I don't know who this Jim Rohn is, but the greatest gift you can give someone is your own personal development. I used to say, if you will take care of me, I will take care of you. Now I say, I will take care of me for you, if you will take care of you for me.
You know what? I like that.
I do too. Number 5, displays of loving jealousy. What is it?
Ugh.
Getting pissed off when your partner talks, touches, calls, texts, hang out, or sneezes in the general vicinity of another person, and then you proceed to take that anger out on your partner in an attempt to control their behavior. This often leads to insane behaviors such as hacking into your partner's email account, looking through their text messages while they're in the shower, or even following them around and showing up unannounced. following them around town and showing up unannounced. Why it's toxic? It's surprise.
Now, see, I don't see that as loving jealousy. I just see that as stalking. And if you do this, you have issues.
Carol says kangaroo anuses. Did I really just hear that? Yes, you did.
Yes, you did. On I'm Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. In some of the Bush Tucker trials, they are required to eat some really weird and gross things. And one of the things that I've seen a celebrity have to eat is a kangaroo ass anus.
So Fear Factor Celebrity Edition with a twist, more like Fear Factor plus Survivor is what it sounds like.
I will. Oh, well, it's hosted by Ant and Dec, and they are very Geordie TV presenters, and I love them.
I forget what I was going to say next. Oh yes, we're reading the thing. Why is toxic?
Why is it toxic?
Why is it toxic? It surprises me that some people describe this as some sort of display of affection, figuring incorrectly that if their partner isn't jealous, somehow that means they don't love them enough. This is absolutely clown shit crazy.
I agree.
Rather than being loved enough, it's actually just controlling and manipulative. And by transmitting...
It's abusive.
And by transmitting a message of lack of trust in the other person, it creates unnecessary drama and discord. Worst of all, it's demeaning. If my partner cannot trust me to be around other attractive women by myself, then it implies that she believes I am either A, a liar, or B, incapable of controlling my impulses. In either case, that's a woman I do not want to be with.
And I would agree with that. Like, if you truly believe that if you really do this, you really do think your partner is a liar or incapable of commitment or whatever. And if you really believe that, you shouldn't be with them anyway. And if you are crazy enough to think that this shit is normal, get therapy. Because, goddamn.
What to do instead? Completely trust your partner. It's a radical idea, I know. But some jealousy is natural. But excessive jealousy and controlling behaviors are signs of your own feelings of unworthiness, and you should learn to deal with them and not force those on those close to you. Without fixing that jealousy, you're only going to push your partner away. I would also take it a step further. I would discuss these feelings with your partner without being aggressive or blaming them or trying to say, without being an ass about it. Just being like, look, when you go over to so-and-so's house and spend a lot of time with them, I get really jealous about that. I know I probably shouldn't, but I just can't help it, And
do you remember when we did that Sexy Saturday with the trans thing on Pat's channel?
Yes.
And Saomi and Tay were on it.
Uh-huh.
I've got to admit, I am kind of jealous about how attractive Saomi is. And
that's a different type of jealousy.
It is. It's like she's so beautiful. I'm jealous, and I hate her for it. But I just can't hate her because she's so pretty.
That's a different kind of jealousy.
She's so sweet as well.
Yeah.
She's so sweet as well.
She was very sweet. But it's a different kind of jealousy. But yeah, no, tell your fucking partner about it. Just be like, hey, look, I'm really, get really jealous when you go and spend all this time with so-and-so. I know I shouldn't, but, and then you can work with your partner on ways to mitigate that jealousy. Because like I said, sometimes a little bit of jealousy is completely natural.
Yeah.
It shouldn't ever be a thing of if it's constantly something that you're just jealous over every single little thing they're doing. You need to look inside and find out why that is, because you have some insecurities and some valence that you need to go, okay, look, my self-esteem is in the dumpster, so apparently they're going to leave me, so I need to keep an eye on everything they do. No. Because what you're going to do is you're going to drive them crazy, and then your fears will come true. They will leave you.
And then they will leave you because you're so insecure, and it's clear that you don't love yourself. And you make it impossible for them to love you in return, which goes back to what I said at the beginning of this article. How do you expect someone else to love you if you don't love yourself?
Mm-hmm. We got one more tally. You want to read this one?
Yes. Buying the solution to relationship problems. What is this? Whenever a major conflict or issue comes up in a relationship, instead of solving it, you cover it up with the excitement and good feelings that come with buying something nice or going on a trip somewhere. Or worse, like getting married or having a baby. Oh, no. Don't do that shit.
Despite my
Oh.
repeated attempts, my ex was convinced that our issues could be solved by us having a baby. And I was like, honey,
Yeah.
after you've already cheated on me once, it's going to be a minute before I feel comfortable even thinking about having a baby with you.
No, because that, like, even marriage, like something like marriage, it adds extra stress to a relationship. If you've got relationship issues, the stress of planning a wedding will just make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got relationship issues, the stress of having a baby will just make it worse. Don't do that shit.
It distracts you temporarily from problems that are actually a lot deeper.
Yep. My parents were experts at this, and it got them real far. A big fat divorce and 15 years of hardly speaking to each other ever since.
Did you write this article, Tally?
My parents, you know what? They've been divorced like 10 years. Well, they finally settled the divorce like 5 years ago. They've been separated 10 years.
Jeez.
They have both since independently told me that this was the primary problem in their marriage. Continuously covering up their real issues with superficial pleasures. Why it's toxic? Not only does buying stuff brush the real problem under the rug, where it will always reemerge, or even worse the next time, but it sets an unhealthy precedent within the relationship. This is not a gender-specific problem, but I will use the traditional gendered situation as an example. Let's imagine that whenever a woman gets angry at her boyfriend or husband, the man solves the issue by buying the woman a gift or taking her to a fancy restaurant. Not only does this give the woman unconscious incentive to find more reasons to be upset with the man, but it also gives the man absolutely no incentive to actually be accountable for the problems within the relationship. That the results of all this, a checkout husband who feels like an ATM and an
Incessantly.
incessively bitter woman who feels unheard.
Yeah, I mean, you just get to a point where neither one of you feels like you're loved in the relationship. It just feels like, oh, we just deal with these problems, and I have these problems and you have these problems. We're not dealing with them. We're just covering them up with these.
I
buying
have to
stuff.
admit, I do this in my personal life, like not even in a relationship. Like if I feel sad, I will buy myself something pretty. And it's not healthy.
To some extent, it's okay to do that to make yourself feel a little better, but it's also important to address the problem.
Oh yeah, and I do that too.
A gift
after I feel
works
a little
fine if it's a I'm with someone and I fucked up. In which case I'm gonna go, here's a gift. I'm sorry. That was my mistake. I'll do better in the future. Because I'm simultaneously addressing the problem while giving a gift as an I'm sorry to soften the blow, feelings.
Basically, yeah. And see, like I do that too. Like if I've got an issue within my personal life, I try to resolve it, but at the same time, to make myself feel better about the fact that I've got this issue and I'm trying to solve it, I buy myself something pretty.
I agree. Imagine a necklace that made of kangaroo anuses. That would be a shitty gift. Jarl, corner.
Come off the kangaroo anus.
Corner.
What to do instead? Deal with the problem. Trust was broken. Talk about what what it will take to rebuild it. Someone feels ignored or unappreciated? Talk about ways to restore those feelings of appreciation. Communicate.
Wow, it's almost like
There
I've been
is
saying it the whole
nothing
time.
wrong with doing nice things for a significant other after a fight to show solidarity, regret. Uh, this is what you were saying earlier, or to reaffirm the commitment. But one should never use gifts or fancy things to replace dealing with the underlying emotional issue. Gifts and trips are called luxuries for a reason. You only get to appreciate them when everything else is already good. If you use them to cover up your problems, then you will find yourself with a much bigger problem down the line.
You know, one thing I've noticed a trend in this entire article of all 6 of these problems and what their real answers end up being is just communication. And that's one of my
Yo,
biggest
Eve
pet
told you to
peeves.
go to the corner, not sit in the middle of the floor.
What'd he do? Smart ass.
He sits in the middle of the floor.
That's okay. I'll just go give him a spanking. It'll be fine. Spank that ass. Anyway, but no, it always comes back to communicate. Tell the other person what's going on with you. Tell them what's on your mind, and just ask them what's going. Hey, back and forth. Talk to the person. It's okay to actually express those feelings, to express those thoughts, to just have a conversation about them. But basically,
Yes,
the entire article can be summed up to communicate and don't be an asshole. I mean, it's really simple. Relationships are not that fucking hard, but people complicate them by just not addressing the problem.
I agree.
I find the same issues at work. I have supervisors who refuse to address issues that are just glaring examples of ineptitude, glaring examples of incompetence, glaring. Just don't address issues because they're afraid of the confrontation. Don't be afraid of confrontation, because 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be as bad as you think it is.
Well, see, I've also got that issue with my housemate. He says he doesn't like confrontation, which is why he won't speak to the landlord about these issues, despite the fact that he works with the landlord, and he refused to give me the landlord's phone number so I could speak to the landlord. So it just causes confrontation between me and him, because these issues need sorting. He's got the means to speak to the person that can sort them. He won't let me speak to the person that will sort them. And now we're having a big argument about these issues within this house that we're supposed to share with each other. I just have to make it to January.
But yeah, we are in our last 7-8 minutes or so. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything else you want to ask, Callie and I kind of went long with this article. I didn't expect it to take this long, but it did. Kind of got off on some tangents. I wonder
that
why.
was a good article, though.
It was a good article.
It was a good article, though.
I think it was pretty solid, pretty smart, pretty well written. And that's why I wanted to share it. So, takes a piece of assassin's chalk and scribbles a square in the middle of the floor. Sits in a corner, southwest corner, because I have no idea what's going on.
All right, assassin says.
No, I mean I read it. I just don't know why we're playing this game right now.
Because you told Jarl to sit in the corner because he said something about kangaroo anuses.
I've already decided I'm just going to give him a spanking anyway. So.
And he got a piece of chalk from assassin. So technically he's sitting in a corner, because he's sitting in the corner of the square he drew on the floor.
Yeah. Anyway, any questions, comments, concerns, queries, please put them in the chat now. We would love, love, love to hear from you. So.
Yes, please. Ask questions, thoughts about the article. Anything you'd like to add? Yeah.
But yeah, just fucking talk to your partner. It's so fucking easy. But so many people
Well,
just
it doesn't
can't
even have to be
get
someone
that
that you're
right.
dating.
Yeah, anybody,
Like
any
these,
relationship. That applies
like,
for any relationship, be it friends, be it
like,
family, be it lovers, whatever.
like my relationship with my mother is not the best, and the reason for that is because we don't communicate with each other,
Yeah.
and we really should.
Yeah. I just
And it, yeah,
refusing to talk altogether is just not constructive. Like, avoiding it for whatever reason. I don't know. Just at sexy AMA time. I mean, you can ask a question where we may or may not answer, but Tallie's
yeah.
hoe ass might. But
If-
I mean. See, open and honest communication. I tell Tally all the time I think she's a hoe, and it's it's fine.
And I just sit here and roll my eyes.
Hey ho, hey.
What?
Are you looking?
Wait, what? I'm looking. You can have the unmanicured finger.
Oof. I didn't get the manicured finger.
Yeah, see, this is the issue with gel nails.
Yeah, you
Like
were in the
I smacked my hand into the door when I went to go open the door handle because it was dark, and I caught the door frame and I lost one of my nails.
Yet if you were in the
But you
Discord,
can see it is really my nail.
we
I
all
just
know
didn't
what you
who
think
was
about your
talking.
stepmom. What the fuck? I think Akari was
My
talking about your
stepmom's
stepmom.
awesome. My stepmom's great.
Your stepmom's fucking hot.
She's so sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you were, Assassin says, I think it's because many women have more training in reading social/emotional cues from other women while men exchange data. Exactly.
Well, I said that earlier as well. Like women, females, we tend to be more socially inclined, whereas men tend to be more medically.
And
No,
because
not
of that,
medically, mechanically inclined.
it makes it very difficult for them to stop and go, oh, well, you don't see this the way I see it. You don't see the world the way I do. You know? Which is why I'm just like, hey, I'll be direct as possible with everybody. So even if it's not always the way I've been personally, male or female that I'm communicating with, it still becomes difficult at times to remember to, oh yeah, they can't tell what I'm thinking. I need to actually say what's on my mind.
Well, people aren't mind readers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, eventually we might grow or evolve to the point where we can read each other's minds. However, at the moment, that is not possible.
Yep.
Oh, and also, Jarl said he's going to have us on K Jarl at some point. Yes.
We need to have him on here
Sure.
too.
Yes, we do.
We mean to do that.
We can do the whole medieval thing when he's on, because he's a Viking. I've just arbitrarily decided that Jarl's a Viking.
Remember when we were talking about taboo vids? Oh no.
Oh.
Like sex and your stepmom vids? And how
No.
it's apparently not Tally's kink at all, and we can't figure out why. Honestly sounds like how
Because she's married to my dad.
Honestly sounds like how I used to be a dick, but it's kind of a meme at this point, but Peterson was a huge help for my personal improvement in relationships or otherwise. Eve, how are you enjoying Cyberpunk? I have mixed feelings on it right now. On the one hand, I love this. I love the game. It's a lot of fun, having a blast with it. On the other hand, the bugs are making it nearly unplayable in some cases. Like last night I ran into the issue of it was just overtaxing my computer so much that I couldn't stream it. I could play it just fine, but for some reason OBS was just like not rendering it fast enough, and it was coming out laggy and glitchy to everyone that was seeing the stream, and I'm like, this is frustrating.
I haven't watched you play it since that first live stream that you
And I
did
was
when
running
you
around the
first
streets just
started.
fine. There wasn't any lag spikes or anything in there, was there?
No, there were, however, some bugs like the gun not
Right, and I could deal
loading
with the
and
bugs. It was
not
just the lag that
shooting.
was crazy to me. You haven't had any glitches yet, Pat? I find that difficult to believe. Yet you were going on for an hour about how beautiful your stepmom was. Yeah.
She is beautiful.
Look.
She's
Look.
and it wasn't. I wasn't the one going on about it for an hour.
Tally,
Everyone else
you
was.
know that if your stepmom came to you and was just like, Tally, I have a confession to make. Your dad can't get it up anymore, so I need someone to take care of my business.
No. No. Just no. No, not at all.
I just want to replay on that over here.
No.
That was great.
No. No. Just no.
Oh my god. Way
No.
to Eve. Way to Eve. Yep. Way to Eve. I got you good. Just cringing so hard.
You're not allowed any lollipops.
I'm gonna get your lollipop in a minute.
No lollipops for you.
It's okay. I'll just lick
Can you
you
tell I've
instead.
got a? Can you tell I've got a bit of a fixation?
I can tell you have a bit of a fixation because you look so much cuter with something in your mouth. I mean, what? And copyright strike. All right, kids, that brings us to our hour and a half of a stream. I want to say thank you so much to all of you for being here with us. Thank you to my lovely, lovely co-host, Miss Talita Constantine. And I can't think of anything else that we have to say or to chill. If you like what we do on this channel, share with your friends, hit that subscribe button and that like button on your way out the door, kids. It's been a blast. Love you all. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Lay back, relax, enjoy it all. Saturday night, it's time to say no more. S&M with Tally and KRC. Come pleasure or pain, welcome to the stream.